Alrighty, it is Monday out here in Bali, Indonesia, and this video is going to be about the books that have pretty much changed my life. With the first one, which this video is going to be on, and it is Transurfing Reality in 78 Days. And this book has been completely instrumental to my journey. Last year and a half, I think, is when I originally started this book. And I've read this book cover to cover now about 20 times. I've listened to the audiobook, which I'll link below this video, I think probably 30 times. And my goal with the content of this book was really just to burn it into my brain, into my subconscious, and just allow it to kind of guide me as, you know, life brought me circumstances and decisions and forks in the road, and it's been totally transformational. So one of the overarching themes in this book is the affirmation that my role takes care of me. And one of the kind of big things in life, especially when you're you know, embarking on a journey or just in life, I think it's hard to trust that you know, things are ultimately happening for you and not to you. And it can be easy, you know, when life is beating you down, or, you know, things are going the wrong way, or, you know, you wanted to go a certain direction and life is taking you another direction. You know, things are starting up, things are ending, whether it's, you know, relationships, whether it's career, whether it's, you know, health ups and downs, and all of these things. And you know, what this book is really about is during those times of, you know, those fork in the road type of moments, you know, a lot of us just as humans is we kind of double down. And one of the big things this book talks about is gripping the steering wheel. So a lot of times when, you know, life starts to take you on this journey, you know, we grip the steering wheel even harder, and we try and steer the boat, and we try and actually, you know, take more control, and you know, really force things to happen and push things to happen. And really what this book is about is doing the opposite. So it's setting your intention. It is you know, setting for your kind of vision of really what you want, you know, what you want your life to be like, how you want to feel, and those things, and then actually releasing your grip on the steering wheel, and learning to, you know, trust life, and you know, flow, you know, flow like water, rather than something like, you know, force things to happen. And you know, this couldn't be more true in my life. You know, over the last year and a half, things have gone so differently than I imagined. I'm someone who likes to plan things. I'm kind of fairly rigid in my approach. A lot of times I'll, you know, have a goal, and then I reverse engineer that goal. So if it's an income goal, if it's a fitness goal, if it's a social goal, you know, I'll take that big goal and then I'll break it into all these small things that, you know, need to happen, and then I'll break those into smaller things and smaller things until I kind of have this, you know, path of, okay, if I do Y, I'll get to X. If I do X, I'll get to Z, and ultimately I'll accomplish my goal. But the thing about life is, you know, life is fluid, and life is not linear in terms of, you know, when you embark on something and when you want to do something, you know, a lot of times the fork in the road, or the path for that matter, is not a straight line, and it's anything but a straight line, actually. You know, when you really want to do something, oftentimes it's, you know, major progress, and then, you know, these deep slumps, or it can be, you know, nothing, where it looks like, you know, nothing you're doing is working, and then all of a sudden, you know, a single day, or, you know, you meet a person, or you know, you get a phone call, you get an email, you get a social media message, anything like that, and then things can change, and all of your hard work all of a sudden can come to fruition in, you know, less than a day, less than a moment. And you know, that's kind of what this book is all about. And one of the key affirmations, and this is something I've really you know, put to practice in my life, is the affirmation that my world takes care of me. So what that means, and kind of how you use that, is, you know, you have this vision, you get clear on kind of how you want to feel, where you want to be, what you want to do. Not so much what you want to do, actually. I would say it's more kind of, you know, where you want to be in life, you know. You know, how do you want to feel, and kind of the things that ultimately, if you could have anything, you know, they talk about, you know, if you're putting your order in at a you know, a counter, and you can order whatever you want, and you know, in life, they're saying, you know, what would your order be? And yeah, so this affirmation that my world takes care of me is ultimately the kind of phrase that you use in order to flow through life. So instead of, you know, life coming at you, all of a sudden you start to really embrace the things that are happening, And the goal is to stay focused on where you want to go and be extremely, so stay rigid on where you want to go, but be extremely loose and the complete opposite of rigid in how you get there. And I think that's a huge lesson for my life. Is a lot of times in my life when I've wanted to go to a certain place or go a certain direction or accomplish something, I have this very kind of firm path that I set up for myself of how to get there. And a lot of times that involves, kind of forcing things. Really forcing myself, like in terms of, if it's a business goal, I'm like, okay, I need to, work. I need to sit on my computer 6 to 8 hours a day. I need to sit inside. I need to say no to family events. I need to say no to social events. I need to, even skip workouts and let my health go down in certain aspects. And that is just rigid because I'm thinking that, okay, if I want to do this business goal, that's going to take 500 hours. If I want to do it in, 3 months or whatever, I need to work, 5 to 8 hours a day on that single goal. And the moment I step away from my computer, that goal is not happening. And the moment I am in front of my computer, for instance, that goal is happening. And that is just the definition of being rigid in the approach. Because ultimately, one of the things that I just keep learning over and over is it's these random moments in our life that create these defining moments. Like, for instance, you could meet one person at a coffee shop randomly. You could get a random email. You could be working so hard towards something in a certain direction, and all of a sudden you could have, and you could see nothing from it, and all of a sudden, that dream and that vision can come to fruition in a way that you didn't even imagine. And that is the whole premise of My World Takes Care of Me. It is really about, when you have this logical idea of, if you do X, you can get Y. The kind of theme of this book is, allow your world to bring you things that are even better than you can even imagine. So if you want to get somewhere, allow your world to bring you something even better. If you want to meet the woman of your dreams or the man of your dreams or whatever that is, have a loose vision of that person, but be open to your world, bring you even something better than that you didn't even know. And that's another really key thing, actually, that I've learned, now numerous times in my life is, I've always kind of have these, I have these visions, I have these goals. And a lot of times when I finally summit the mountain of these visions and goals, I realize, I look out at the view of this new mountain I've summited, and I see where I actually wanted to go. And that's really about this book is, allow your world to take care of you and bring you something even better than you can imagine. So for instance, recently, for the second time in my life, I thought a certain number, hitting a certain number of income, and a certain work-life balance in a digital business would come and bring me my life circumstances that I'd always wanted. And what I realized when I finally achieved that was I had just built this kind of, jail for myself. I was, working in e-commerce, doing really well. And at first I was enjoying it, but then it kind of got stagnant because the passion wasn't really there. And I really had kind of got into that and continued to really follow that because it was, made so much sense financially to get to my financial goals. And what I was doing in the moment is I was thinking, once I achieve my financial goals, these other things in my life are going to fall into place. And I was in my dream penthouse apartment, had my dream truck, I had my dream mountain bike. I was mountain biking pretty much every day in North Vancouver Mountains, which was always a goal of mine, to have close proximity to the best biking in the world. I was working online less than 4 hours a day, and I was ultimately really unhappy. And I was so confused at the time, why I wasn't happy. But I realized it was a means to an end. And funny enough, that led to me moving abroad. Actually, it was one of my core things when I was working in e-commerce was I was actually on contract with an agency. So I was able to work with really cool clients that really just double down as a media buyer and a marketer without having to do the sales stuff of a typical agency. And funny enough, that job actually winded down. So I ended up getting let go in like a total freak thing, like totally left field. But that opportunity, looking back, was the entire reason that within the next, I think, 14 days after that moment, I gave away 99% of my belongings and I moved abroad. And at first, again, moving abroad was really challenging. Initially, when I was in Mexico, Puerto Escondido, at this entrepreneurs retreat, I totally thought I'd made the wrong decision, and I was having Wi-Fi issues and I was getting sick and all this stuff. And then I went home for a little bit, and that was even tougher because I'd given away pretty much everything that I had. So I moved into my childhood bedroom at my mom's place for like a month or two, and ended up actually getting into a really deep depression because I was really kind of lost again. And I was starting to realize, okay, like, did I make the wrong move? Ultimately I getting let go was out of my control. But the impulse to go move abroad and give away all my stuff, I was like, oh man, did I do the wrong thing? And should I, go back to this path of stability and all this stuff? But I still have this vision, and I still knew what I wanted. I knew how I wanted to feel. I knew kind of what I wanted my life to be like, and what I wanted my life to be like was something that I could do for work, an income that was so authentic to me that it was just an extension of me. So instead of working 4 hours a day and then going and living the other 12, I want to do something that is really natural. And ultimately, I really want to have impact, and that was the biggest thing for me missing in e-commerce, is I was making companies millions and millions of dollars, but it wasn't fulfilling to me because I wasn't really helping people. And ultimately, now I'm here in Bali. I've been in Bali for about 2 months now. I plan on living out here longer term, and to really come back to that, my authentic mission is to help people. And funny enough, 10 years ago, my first business was personal training, helping people with mind, body, spirit. And crazy enough, I'm kind of circling back to that now in terms of my new mission, which I've stumbled upon out here. So yeah, went had things change, went to Mexico, moved abroad, gave away all my stuff. That was bad. Moved home, deep depression. Came out to Bali, and my life literally changed every single day I've been here. And now the last 45 days, I've never been happier, never been more fired up on my life direction. I can only think back to maybe when I was 17 or 18 and I first found fitness and started my first business being a personal training business. That was the last time I really felt this authentic, and this excited about my future. And it's just brilliant. And again, that was my world taking care of me. So it was bringing me all these opportunities that at the time were I'm a change averse person. So getting to the financial mountain and having all these material things that I always dreamed of, thought that they'd make my life better. Getting there, realizing they weren't, I was like, holy, like then I just felt lost because I'm like, shit, I don't even know what I actually want. And then deciding to move abroad after things change. Again, my world was actually completely taking care of me and getting me back to the most authentic version of myself, which now I'm really getting to know again being out here. But all of those things looking back are perfect, because there's no way I would have given up my dream penthouse and my Tacoma TRD Pro and my bike and my lifestyle, because I was so connected to what it looked like on paper. And ultimately too, I was playing the wrong game. I was caught up in kind of the Western lifestyle, and I think even too like what other people thought of me and kind of stuff like that. And then yeah, so I wouldn't have made that decision on my own. But when life brought me that circumstance and changed things for me, ultimately it allowed me to be here right now filming this video, and just completely rediscovering probably one of the best versions of myself I think I've stumbled upon so far. And I'm 20 years old. I can't wait to see what the next couple of years bring. So Bali's going to be my new home here. I'm at this amazing compound of a villa here with one of my new friends, Matt, who has this place, and then a really, really good buddy of mine who works with, Jordan. And yeah, even just the opportunities that have come my way since really transitioning into this new vision and mission, ultimately understanding that content is going to be a key piece to this impact. All these things have come to fruition, all by trusting and just learning to accept myself and accept things as they are, just have a vision. And then ultimately allow my world to take care of me and just stay focused on that vision. So my call to action for you on the other side of this video is, really just get this book, start reading it. It is pretty, it's kind of like abstract. These are quite deep, deep pages in terms of these things. But what I love about it is it's literally just, one page or 2 page is a lesson, and then it goes through an interpretation. And the best way to do this is just read 1 page a day and integrate that lesson or that chapter into your life, however that shows up for you. I highly recommend the audiobook. I listened to that a lot when I was biking and working out, really to just kind of burn it into my head. And then then I use that to just subconsciously be more aware, kind of as things were happening in my day. I was like, oh, okay, this is my role taking care of me. Rather before I'd be like, holy shit, like what just happened? You know, this is now going the other direction. When in reality, you know, lean into those things that scare you is probably the right thing. So yeah, if you're, you know, struggling, if you're feeling stagnant, if you've, you know, dealt with depression or suicide, or just, you know, just having a hard time in life, or even if you're doing really, really well in life, but you just feel like you're meant for more, and you know, want to discover what that is, this is a phenomenal book as a starting point to really, yeah, just find your most authentic self and bring it to life in 2025 and beyond. So thanks so much for your time, and I look forward to having you in the next video here. Talk soon.